Okay, update on the pteranodon. What we've done is we've put in, you remember this wing, since we've spoken last. He's had his claws put in, a bit hard to see at that angle. Little claws put in. Finished the keel muscles, and I've added the other wing section. You can see the marks there from the marker, where I had to make the pattern for the wing. Put the other arm in. You can see the fold there. Back leg's been put in and we've inserted feet. They look like little frog feet. I guess that's what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of reptilian sorts of creatures that might relate. Now if we put it from the correct angle, the other thing we've done is we've remodeled the head. This is how the head starts on the pteranodon. Looks like he's looking in there, what? Sniffing. Drilled a hole. I placed an eyeball in there, cut the nose hole there, and the idea was that I'd later insert an eyelid, and that looks like this. So here's his nose. So what he's got now is he's got nose, teeth, he's got his eyes sorted out. He's picking up the shirt. And he's got the wing, both arms, teeth. So he's starting to look the part, isn't he? Now look, with the eyelid, what I did was I actually sculpted the stuff with a plastic filler around the eye. I'll stop moving it around in a second. It's picking up my shirt again, darn. So I've actually sculpted the eye. I might just move the camera up a bit. It's the technique that I've used to make him. And now this is what you'll see. I guess this is what you'll see in shot, is this from this side. Wing up. There he goes. It's starting to look the part, isn't it? See that? Little feet, see the little feet there? Teeth. Head. They're starting to get the look. So I'll be painting him now, so we'll have a look now while we're getting the colour in. He's lovely. Look at this, he looks like some kind of exotic dish. Some kind of exotic lunch here. Ready to eat. Of course you can see here that one wing's much smaller than the other. Here we go. Here's a sky I've painted. That's the sky for the pterodon. What you might notice is the base layer was done in a light yellow, right down there, and that's been spread across down into purple, that I've merged a purple into it and a deep blue. Now if we raise it up, that's how big it's going to be, possibly just a bit higher. See those edges? I've merged the deep blue in. Let's go right down and have a look at those brush strokes. Clouds. See the little dots of white on top of them? I wanted a really dramatic sort of cloudscape. See the brush strokes? Big sweeps across the paper as much as possible to merge it in. Show the thickness of my brush. Whoops, bonk. Thickness of the brush is exactly this thick. See there? That's the thickness of the brush. Use a nice big brush. Okay, we'll just stop there for a moment. There's out. Big palette. And here's the pterodon. In black wingtips. What I've done is I've thought about the colours of seabirds basically, and tried to use the colours of seabirds as a cue. Brightly coloured pieces, merging greys, soft merging greys. I think penguins, I guess, or seagulls. Giving his teeth a glaze. Painted right into the eye. Right into the face. Tried to get that peg-like quality to the teeth. I've given the eyes another glaze. Tried to get the soft boundaries between the colours that you might see in marine birds. And black claws. There you go. So he's looking quite good. Now what will happen with the pterodon is he will appear floating above the blue like this. I don't know, I'm just thinking, I want that wingtip in the shot. Maybe something like that. So you get that sort of feeling of this guy sort of cruising around. I'm not happy with the way the wings worked out. Look at that. See how I couldn't get the transparency? It's gone all dark. I like the shape. I might have to paint the underneath of the wings white. Let's have a look how far we haven't gone. Still haven't got that top arm. It'd be good just passing over though. It's lovely. Very pleased with the way that's turned out now. So you've got that background. You can sort of see that, sense that. Now the sheet's been taped down so that when it goes wet it goes all floppy and then it slowly stretches out. So that when it goes wet, paper stretches and the tape stops it from staying all crinkled because it's gone nice and flat, which it needs to be, because basically what's happening is it's going into here. This is the box shape of the background for the pterodon. Now that's what I'll be dealing with now. I've got some reference here for cliff faces. I've had a look at a lot of stuff, dry foliage areas, not trees as such, like sort of lichens and ground cover type plants. that would go well with the Jurassic era, but that sky is going to go behind these mountains. Okay, so that's what I'll be doing now. The sort of reference I'm looking at is places like this. Southern Islands off Australia, where you have scrubby ground cover. I won't be using the trees. I wanted to use some wood shapes, but the Jurassic era, cycads and ferns probably. But this is the kind of habitat I'm thinking of for that pteranodon. So stop there. I'll come back and I'll show you some other ones. Rocks, deep shadows, it's exactly what I'm looking for that time of day. Scrubby vegetation. So we're looking Gondwana land here, otherwise Australia really. There you go. So I'll be using those as key reference. And that's what we'll be rendering now. I'll set up a palette and away we go. So we'll be looking at greys, browns, whites, olive greens, deep blue, purple shadows, and that's what I'll do first. I think I'll scrub in the deep purple, blue shadows and we'll go from there, but we'll see. Now my aim here is to render the rock faces for the pteranodon. Let's get this out of the way. So what I'll be doing is I'll be mixing up a variety of palettes. I'll be looking to make a group of shadow tones, earth tones, and the brighter foliage tones. You can't see it here. What I've got is my reference is laid out. See that sort of stuff. So there's greens, there's greys, and there's rock tones. Let's have a look at this down here. Okay, here's my palette. Once again, I've just used a plastic plate because I can peel the paint off. We might just zoom in there to have a look. Yoo-hoo! In we go. Okay, now what you'll see is I'll start with shadow tones. Dark brown. I'd like some purple too, I don't know. Dark brown. Ochre. There's more earth tone. I'll enrich that earth tone with reds. Napsol crimson, I hope it's mixed up enough. I often repeat on the palette, I often put the same colours back where I had them before. White, I need lots of it, so I'll put some white over here because white makes grey actually, that's what its major strength is, but I also need some clean white over here. I can't put the green back here, but I'll put it over here. I want some greens. I've got some Hooker's green, warm blue. I'm just about out of blue, so I'm going to have to get some blue today at some time. Probably go down the art supply store. Whoop, there you go. I need some grey, so black will be important. Raw umber. Get some black happening over here. Black's starting to separate. Orange, I need orange. I need yellow. Get a bit of orange happening here. I can mix it, but it's probably better to have the pure colour. And the white's going to be used a lot for the tops, so the greens, probably could put in another green too, I'm thinking. Got a selection of brushes ready. This is a quick process, it'll go very quickly. Once I've started, it'll go hugely quickly. Look, green. So I've got a sample of greens, I've got some browns, I haven't got any ready brown, but I'll just use red to make that. Now let's have a look. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the deep tones. I guess purplish browns, and I'll brush them down into the folds. Now, there's my landscape. Now what I'm aiming to do here is brush in shadows first. Light's coming over this way, or maybe it's coming that way. Okay, need good flat brushes. I've got the larger flat brushes. And lots of water. Let's just start with a purple and a purplish brown. Go back over here. just mix. Oh, maybe get a wider shot. I think it's probably a good idea. Okay, pallet's over here. Let's see if I can get the pallet where you can see it. Well, I really could put this upside down, I guess. I want light coming from that edge. Purplish, purplish brown, and blue. Alright, let's just do it. So what I do is I brush it down into the things. Brown, purplish brown and blue. Gonna make it nice and watery, but I want it to cover. It's an adventure. Painting's an adventure because I don't know exactly what's going to happen. But maybe I can show you by getting up close. I'm painting right down into the grooves. Mixture of shadow tones. I've been wanting to do this ever since I built this cliff face. It's an immensely exciting time for me. Nervous about it because I don't want to wreck it. It took me a long time to carve. I don't want to stuff it up. But it's all, you know, it's terrific because look, it's got texture. It's already got the texture. It doesn't need much more. Look at this. You know, what you're seeing is, can you see that starting to come alive with the deeper tones in there? I guess it's a theatre technique. Brush in your nice dark tones. It's all about theatre. Nice smooth areas, transitions. I'll get in those finer areas later. It's a beautiful surface to paint on. It's slightly rough. It's got texture. But it's also got that beautiful smooth undercoat sort of effect. 100 things cross your mind when you're painting, 100 things. So what we'll do is we'll soften some of those edges. Even the edge of the box I'm going to paint. Change brushes. Stuck them in the other thing. Now I need a slightly stiff brush because I have to get in and under things, and it's a very coarse sort of structure. So you'll just spread the hairs on the finer brushes. So I've got to get right in there. It's a wonderful surface to paint, really. It's just, yeah, I keep saying it, but there again, it's a wonderful surface to paint. Very lucky to be able to do this stuff. And what I said about an adventure is true. Best to be bold. There we go. Move your shadows right over onto the edge of the box. I want to use this whole area. Now what I'll do is, we'll have a good close-up of this in a second. There we go. Good group of shadow tones. We're going to pretend the light's coming from the back because that's where the sundown's coming from. Right. Now look at that. Do you see the sense of those cliffs starting to shape themselves? Not perfect yet, it doesn't matter. Look at the washed out tone I've used. It's revealing the structure. Now the next thing I'm going to be doing is, let's get it dry. It's going to be very noisy because I'm going to use the, because I want to put sand into it now. I want to put a sandy tone and earthy tone. So what I'll do is I'll mix a bunch of earth tones. Let's start with a sandy tone, white and ochre. A bit of grey. What we're looking for now is a mottled type of appearance. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll brush over the face. I'll try and keep it clean, actually. Nice and clean. sandy, ochre, maybe mottle it in a bit. I'll be brushing plenty of grey back over this. Yellow's on the edge because that's where the now what I'm going to try and do is not lose too much of my not lose too much of the shadow tone. Like if I merge into it, if I keep painting over the shadow, I can get rid of the shadows. If I keep going over the purple bits and the blue bits, looking for an uneven texture here. Oh, it's wonderful to do. Anyway, turn it back upside down. It is wonderful to do. People say they can't paint, you know, yeah. It's worth it just for the journey. Ochre's everything. Like if you think about how tribal people use that ochre, it's a ground colour straight out of the earth. And I use that in painting a lot. The funny thing is it's the same tones that I use for skin. The earth and our skin, isn't it amazing? And that's interesting. You think about that stuff when you're painting. It's a weird thing about actually having an occupation where you're on your own a lot. So you're thinking about what goes into the work. You're thinking about the things that you're using, the sticks that are your brushes. The hair that was an animal. A lot of my brushes are now, they're just called hair. So Lord knows where they come from. Ponies or pig's bristle is common. So, you know, you can imagine how many pigs are used. So we're going to run some ridges through this in a minute when this is nice and dry. So let's just pick up the top bits nice and... Oh, it's looking wonderful. Now we're going to mottle back in here with dry brush and white. So all I'm doing is brushing in a base earth tone. Nice mottle, bit of white. I just noticed from the looking at the earth in the pictures, there's a lot of white there. Not too much focus. Try and keep it a bit sort of hazy because I'm going to focus on that creature. There you go, nice. Now, mottle. I want to pick up some of these top surfaces, keep them fresh. Mottle. Coming back in there with whites. So. Okay, not yet. See, it's just sort of picking up some whites here. Let's get that. I will pick this up, even though it's a bit inconvenient for you, because that's what you do. You pick it up, get around it. Beautiful sunset tones now. Wonderful surface to paint. I hadn't realised how good it was going to be using foam for those landscapes. They're just terrific, just terrific. Gee, that crimson's strong. I've just put some crimson in there. It doesn't work at all. It's much too strong. I was hoping to get... I'm just trying to affect the shade of the rocks a bit. The white's the base. If there's white underneath this stuff, it looks like the sun's hitting it. if there's purple underneath it, it looks like it's in shadow. It's really weird. But there you go, because that's how you use the colour wheel. Okay, good start. Base tones. Nothing too fabulous, just base tones. Purples, the brighter colours. Okay, probably needs a bit around that back. Now I'll go back to the purple and I'll brush in some shadows. It's looking like a watercolour at the moment. It's looking good. Back to the purples. Bit of brown in it. Just to deepen it up a bit. No. It's too dark. Not dark enough. Let's get in around the edges. Okay, nice deep shadow parties. Party, where's the party? Now if all this doesn't work, just say I overdo it and I don't like the colour or the tonings that I'm getting. Let's go wide shot. Just say I don't like the tonings I'm getting. Can you imagine what I'd do? I'd just paint it white again. Just paint it white and go over it again. Now, I'm just going to let this dry because I don't want to muck it up by overdoing it. At this stage, I want to just have a good look at it. It's beautiful. I love this phase. That's why I didn't film the sky. I didn't think it was going to work. The funny thing was I'd actually started painting the sky thinking it wasn't going to be anything, and then it just started to work. Suddenly I had the sky working and it was just wonderful. But I didn't film it because I really didn't think it was going to work. So, isn't it crazy? Anyway, it's what you do. Get some reds in there, why not? Some deep tones. Now what you notice is my colours are much too washed out on the front faces of the rock yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and sharpen up my tones. Much richer tones on the front faces. Nice shadows. I've got nice shadows and it's nice and milky now. I guess what I need is some sharp pure tone on the face of the rocks. But it's wonderful texture. Beautiful. Very much like stone. Okay. So we'll let that dry, which means I'll probably let you out of here for a moment. So I'm starting to brush in some foliage. I turned the camera off and suddenly I'd started painting again. Hadn't realised I was going so quickly. It happens so quickly, you know. I tend to paint a lot in the wet. So I'm painting wet in wet. The colours underneath are wet. I'm painting the colours underneath are wet. I'm mixing wet into wet. So basically I'm getting the effects just by moving the paint around and merging it where I want to. It's a good rock slope already. I'm happy with it. It's what I imagine Gallipoli to have been like, very steep, rocky and dry. Not that that's got anything to do with anything, but you know, crosses my mind. Having been in a place, you know, like people are having to visit a place like that and find is just an extraordinary thought. So we've got our rocks. And we're shaped by dry land, even with, of course, the Aboriginals here had dealt with a very dry land, but pastoralists had suddenly learnt a whole new ball game. You know, like how ironic that we should go to another country to fight a place like where the Anzacs went, and it should be another one of those dry places. All those plane journeys too that many people took, they were successful because they flew over very dry places, oceans as well, of course, but you know, the deserts were, you know, extraordinary places where Australians flew. Oh, it's looking really good. Nice and rich, tones are rich. Good. Don't want to overdo it. I might even just put some, I might put some, I was going to put some body filler on here and lift up the edges so you get more relief, but I think I quite like the fuzzy effect. I'll be drilling a hole through the back. That's good. There you go. Let that dry for a moment. We've got to light up those front faces. I've got to find a way to make them lighter. I think I might paint them white. Update time. There's that cliff face that we were painting there. The pterodactyl. Just have a close look at him. Probably see the colour there. Let's have a look up close. What I've tried to do is create deep purple shadows, purple-blue shadows, and a much brighter rock face. What I love about it is there's all that scribble on the background from my son Jim. I've just recycled some of the foam core board that Jim had scribbled on when he was about 4. But I love the idea that that'll be behind the thing. That's looking quite good, isn't it? You can imagine sort of clambering up that cliff face. There's no varnish on it yet. I'm getting a lot of shine there. I'm a bit worried about that. So I might have to mat it down with a matting agent. So this does not look remarkable until you see it against a proper background. Let's just pause for a moment. I'll just pause that. There you go. That's by no means the correct background, but have a look what happens once you have a neutral tone behind it. What happens is the illusion's complete. So there's a sense that whatever's behind there can't be captured by the eye. There you go, and then you get the sense of the cliff's much stronger. Oh dear, I think I've just swatted my pterodactyl. Anyway, so there's the cliffs. I'll just go out to a wide shot. And you can see that studio effect. You're actually in a kind of a television studio. Okay.